Hey guys, well, I've done a little bit more of the puzzle, which means that we have to get back to Delhi to find out the mystery in India. Now, we introduced ourselves to a lot of the characters the last time, so let's see if we can find out what the actual mystery is. We're going to read, we read chapters 1 to 3, page 1 to 3. So we're going to read up to page 6 and we'll see where we end up. So let's go back to Delhi where we last saw our friends. That afternoon, Simon and Max had arranged to meet the Prestons for tea, and as they sat talking on the veranda, Annabelle Danvers suddenly appeared and introduced herself to the group. "Good afternoon," she said. "Would you mind very much if I joined you? My name is Annabelle Bella Danvers, and I am travelling alone." The three gentlemen stood up to greet her. "Not at all," the colonel said. "My name is Colonel William Preston, and this is my wife, Jane." You guys down a bit. There we go. The two ladies nodded and smiled at each other, but Jane felt a twinge of unease as Annabella firmly shook William's hand and held it for just a little longer than necessary. "I am so pleased to meet you again. I believe we were introduced at the Parker John's Christmas party last year." "Oh, yes," replied the colonel. "Please excuse me, I had forgotten." Turning to Simon and Max, Annabella flashed them both a dazzling smile and then sat down. They introduced themselves, and Annabella was fascinated to hear that Simon was an archaeologist. "Tomorrow I am escorting a small group of travellers down to the deserted city of Fatehpur Sikri," Simon said. "You would be most welcome to join us if you have the time." "Why, thank you," she replied. "That would be very nice." "We will be making an early start in order to stop off at the Taj Mahal on the way," Simon continued. "I will leave details of the itinerary with the conclave at reception." "I couldn't help noticing your earrings. Did you acquire them out there?" Miss Preston inquired to Annabella. "They were a present from an admirer. I believe the diamonds were mined in Ceylon." "The Paradise Island?" said Max. "Have you ever been there, Colonel Preston?" "Yes, I was in Colombo at the beginning of the year visiting some army friends. After a few days we travelled up to Kandy. It was stunningly beautiful." "Will you and your wife be visiting the Taj Mahal and the Fatehpur Sikri tomorrow?" Annabella asked. "Yes, we will," the colonel replied. "Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you there, but now I have some letters I must write, so please excuse me," Annabella said. "I also have some business to attend to," Max said, jumping up from his chair. "I'll walk back into the hotel with you, Annabella." Before going down to dinner that night, Mrs. Preston packed a small overnight bag for the trip to Fatehpur Sikri. "Is it really necessary to take any luggage with us?" asked the colonel. "After all, we will be back at the hotel tomorrow night." "Yes, but I'd like to take my shawl and a change of clothes on a day's outing. The case is very small and it won't take up much room in the car," said Miss Preston. When they entered the dining room that evening, Max Billington and Annabella Danvers were seated at a table for two. They were engaged in an intimate conversation and appeared to be studying the contents of a small box. "These are some diamonds which I purchased in Bombay last year," Max said to Annabella. "But of course they are not as beautiful as the earrings you are wearing." During dinner, Mrs. Preston felt unwell and went upstairs to fetch her pill box. She entered the suite and saw her husband's wallet on the bed. Impulsively, she picked it up and glanced through the contents inside. She smiled as she saw a photograph of herself and William. But there was another picture tucked behind which she pulled out. The picture, which she had never seen before, was of a woman whom she recognized. After a few stunned moments, she stared at the picture and then replaced it and the wallet where she found it. Clutching her pill box, she returned to the dining room, and the rest of the meal passed off without incident. They retired to the lounge for coffee, and then decided to turn in early, ready for their long day tomorrow. On returning to their suite, the colonel was surprised to see his wallet lying on the bed. "I must have replaced it when I changed my jacket earlier this evening," he remarked, as he put it back in his pocket. The colonel decided he wasn't tired enough to retire and wanted to breathe for fresh air, and went downstairs into the garden for a stroll in the cool air. It was a beautiful moonlit night, and as he glanced up at the hotel, he saw Jane watching him from their bedroom window. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, everyone on the second floor was awoken by a man with a French accent causing havoc in the foyer. He was brandishing a half-empty bottle of whiskey, and he had charged into the building demanding to be given Annabella Denver's room number. The manager was called and eventually persuaded him to leave the building. But as soon as he was outside, he started throwing stones up at the window, shouting, "You will not get away with this! You have cheated me! You have taken my money, and I will follow you to the ends of the earth to recover my fortune. You are a devious, scheming woman." When the colonel and Miss Preston went down for breakfast early the next morning, the manager was questioning every member of staff about the disappearance of an ornamental dagger from a wall display in the reception area. He also apologized to the guests as they began to gather for the excursion about the disturbance in the early hours of the morning, and he said he hoped that they had not been too upset by the events. Outside, there were 3 cars waiting to take the 12 people going on the excursion to Fetapur Sikri. Annabella was disturbed by the events of that morning and the reappearance of Jean-Paul, but the police had been informed of the trouble, and it was assumed he wouldn't come near the hotel again. With everyone ready, the excursion began, and later on that morning the party arrived at the Taj Mahal. The beautiful white marble building was bathed in a soft pink glow from the morning sun, and a silvery mist rose up from the lake in front of it. The visitors were spellbound. The world's most famous monument is certainly a wonderful sight. Even today, it would be difficult to build something so perfect, said the colonel. By the time the party arrived at the Fetapur Sikri, it was past midday. Everyone settled under the shade of some trees and ate the picnic lunch which the hotel had prepared for them. Whilst they were eating, Max produced a gun from his pocket and told everyone that he had taken the precaution of arming himself today because he had heard that there had been some trouble with bandits in the area and also wild dogs. The colonel agreed and said that he also had a gun with him for that very same reason. When lunch was finished, Simon took the party on a short tour of some of the buildings. "How old is the city?" asked one of the older ladies in the group. "It was built by the Emperor Akbar in 1569 as his new capital. It was mysteriously abandoned after 14 years, but as you can see, most of its buildings remain intact," Simon told the group, as if they wished they could go and explore for themselves, and he would meet them back where they started in an hour. So we've got 2 people that are apparently carrying weapons, although with the bandit news it's easy to understand why they would. We've got a mysterious picture inside a wallet, and there's clearly some tension with Mrs. Preston and Annabel Danvers. Also, the approach of John Paul seems to create some kind of unnerving with our dear Annabel Danvers. But we still don't have a mystery yet. Well, maybe we have a little bit of a mystery on us. Like, what is the deal with Jean Paul? Why is Annabella being accused of cheating? And, more importantly, where did the dagger go? I think we're going to have to find out sometime later on. Now, I'm not going to show you the puzzle yet, but the puzzle is fairly complete. When the puzzle is complete, I will show you, and I will reveal the answer. But I encourage you to keep the answers to yourself and try the puzzle yourself. After all, a jigsaw has 1,000 pictures to create one huge portrait. I'll see you again soon. Ciao for now.